13 amazing abandoned places nature took over. Number 13, the Eastern State Penitentiary. Officially opened in 1829, this American prison was established as an institution that focused on religious reform instead of punishments. Ironically, this belief was carried out and enforced on prisoners through means of torture and solitary confinement that lasted for months. Notorious criminals such as Willie Sutton and Al Capone were once housed here. Eventually, the prison was closed down, and for 23 years the property was reclaimed by the surrounding land. It was opened to the public back in 1994, and the tour has been popular with visitors from all over. Number 12. Varosha Famagusta Cypress. What was once a thriving community and tourist destination in the city of Famagusta is now nothing more than a hollow shell of its former glory. In the 1970s, the beach town of Varosha was the most famous destination for tourists to flock to, but during 1970 to 1974, it was also one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. That was until the Turkish army seized the area and forced its 39,000 residents to flee out of fear. No one has been allowed to return, and the town still remains under the control of the Turkish armed forces. Number 11. The SS America. Also known as the SS American Star, this ocean liner, constructed back in 1940, had quite the 54-year career before it was wrecked in 1994. The ship was constructed by William Francis Gibbs, who was a well-known American naval architect. The most notably scandalous thing to occur in the ship's history was that 2 Nazi spies had managed to infiltrate it and act as passing crew members. They were later discovered and sent to jail with their respective sentences. The ship suffered being split in two by the Atlantic's powerful waves and has slowly been falling apart due to the rusting caused by the ocean's waters. Number 10. Nara Dreamland. This abandoned theme park was opened in Nara, Japan on July 1st, 1961, as a way to bring the magic of the popular amusement park Disneyland to Japan. The park opened to pretty positive reviews, and it was pretty much the closest thing to going to Disneyland without having to travel to the US. Unfortunately, when Tokyo Disneyland opened in 1983, park visitors began to drop. With the arrival of both Tokyo Disney Sea and Universal Studios Japan in 2001, the park closed down. Rust ate away at the park for the last 10 years. The park is currently being demolished, which will take around 14 months. Number 9. The Tunnel of Love, Ukraine. Located in Klevan, Ukraine, the Tunnel of Love is quite the sight to see, especially for nature lovers. The tunnel stretches between 1 to 3 miles long, and it's said that the whole line is measured at around almost 4 miles. Even though it looks like this set of tracks is completely overrun by nature itself, it actually still has trains that carry log runs through it 3 times a day. It seems to be a very popular place to visit as couples come here together to take a walk. Number 8. Kolmanskop. This ghost town lies in the Namib desert that is located in the southern region of Namibia. However, it wasn't always like this. Back in 1908, a worker named Zacharias Lewala discovered a diamond and notified his supervisor. Eventually, German miners settled in the area and built the town with buildings, such as a hospital, school, and even a casino. After the First World War, the town began to decline and was left completely abandoned back in 1954. Houses are now completely flooded with sand, such as the following image shows. The town was reclaimed as a site for tourists to visit as long as they buy the required permit. Number 7. Cairo, Illinois. This town was once a prospering little community during the 1920s and had a population of around 15,000 people. That didn't last for too long. Once railways began popping up, they put a dent into the shipping industry, as there wasn't really a need for steamboats to carry cargo anymore. Bridges were built through this town throughout the years and helped contribute to its downfall. It was when the Interstate 57 bridge was built in 1978 that the town's hotel and restaurant businesses began to die out. Much of the town is now covered in ivy, and it was reported that in 2014, there was only a population of around 2,576 people. Number 6. The Tango-class submarine B-307. This Russian submarine, called the B-307, was once part of a group of diesel-electric submarines that were constructed by the Soviet Union in order to replace the Foxtrot class of subs. This new class was dubbed the Tango class and was given the title Project 641B. It was better equipped than its predecessor with a longer battery capacity, new military weapons, and an increase in pressure hull volume. As of today, the B-307 resides at the Tugliati Museum of Technology in Samara, Russia. It, along with 2 other 641B class submarines, The B-396 and the B-515 operate as museum ships. Number 5. The Chagos Islands. It was back in 1965 that the inhabitants of the Chagos Islands were forced out of their country to make way for a U.S. airbase that was to be built on Diego Garcia. It took 8 years before the Chagosians were all finally relocated to either Mauritius or Seychelles, depending on where they wanted to go. To this day, the Chagosians continue to fight for their right to return back to their island and resettle. Over the course of 50 years, the island has managed to consume all the buildings and wrap them in foliage. The church in the following image even had its roof collapse. Number 4. Longgang District. Located in Shenzhen City is the Longgang District that houses over 120 villas that remain unfinished. The villas were supposed to be extremely luxurious, but were left unfinished in 1992 because the developer had apparently run out of money. The area has now been overrun by nature, and it's said that the buildings are scheduled to be demolished. However, they're still waiting for the official word from authorities. Number 3. Shan Island. This island was once home to a thriving community of fishermen that lived off the land and part of the nearly 400 islands that make up the Shanxi Islands. However, the natives soon realized that it would be a much easier quality of life if they were to move to the mainland. Eventually, the island was deserted because of other job opportunities found elsewhere and the need for better education. Today, the village buildings have been encased with a layer of plant life as there has been no one to keep up with the maintenance. Number 2. Fukushima, Japan. It's here that the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster, the largest nuclear disaster to occur since Chernobyl, all started due to the Tohoku earthquake back on March 11, 2011. The shifting of the tectonic plates caused a massive tsunami to emerge, and it destroyed the emergency generators that were cooling the reactors. This caused 3 nuclear meltdowns and forced a total of 470,000 people to evacuate their homes, along with a number of people whose homes were destroyed by the tsunami. The following image that you see was taken 4 years after the incident, and as you can see, the forest has managed to practically swallow these abandoned cars. Number 1. Pripyat, Ukrainian, SSR. This happens to be the town where the dreaded Chernobyl disaster took place exactly 30 years ago on April 26, 1986, and is remembered as the worst nuclear power plant accident. A devastating steam explosion in the power plant's number 4 reactor caused an alarming amount of radioactive isotopes to be launched up into the atmosphere. The 50,000 citizens of the town were forced to evacuate the day after the explosion, leaving their entire lives behind, along with most of their possessions. Today, the ghostly remnants of the town have been slowly consumed by the foliage of Mother Nature during the past 3 decades.